Finally, the moment has come for my ultimate plan to come to fruition. Soon, I will have a body I so rightfully own. And this time, it won't be temporary. And as for you, Lethal, well, let's just say that where your plan has failed, mine shall succeed, and soon shall be the end of the brony analyst fandom! Ah!
It's time to review the Halloween episode. Let's go!
Fine. So, what are we reviewing?
We aren't. What? Yeah, I overheard your plan, so I figured I'd leave you out and let Fancy Masquerade take the stand. Meanwhile, since it's Halloween, I'll allow you to leave the subconscious world and patrol my body for trick-or-treating or something.
Really? Thank you, Andrew. That's very kind of you.
Hey, it's the least I could do for a child. Well, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Well, ready, Fancy? Most certainly, friendly vampire. Okay, let's begin. So, I can't really say anything about these scenes, but to liven up the mood, here's Fancy Masquerade to tell a plentiful poem of the scenes that lead up to the main conflict. Fancy? So it starts with our focus dressing up for the holidays, which is actually called Nightmare Night by the movies. It works exactly like Halloween. If you watch the episode, you know what I mean. Children dress up in costumes, all clever and witty. Among these children is humorously Pinky. But there is a reason this is called Nightmare Night, as a certain someone comes to give everyone a fright. That's everything I shall say to you. Now I bring you back to Master Hansi. Thank you, I guess. Anyway, so then we go to Luna's arrival and, well, let's just say that it doesn't go as well as she intended. Heck, there's a gag of certain someone misunderstanding her actions. Though Twilight, who's basically the only one who's actually aware that Luna is a changed pony, tries to help Luna out so that she can be able to bond with the other civilians.
with little to no success. And here's another poem from Fancy Masquerade to play us off.
So the princess was presented with repetitive fear. It became quite annoying, or so I hear. And so to stop this pesky endeavor, she decides to cancel Nightmare Night forever. But that would prove to be temporary when Wizard Twilight finds out that their friends don't find her scary and were just pretending as part of a Halloween game, which in my opinion I find rather lame. But nevertheless, after Luna learns this little factoon, she starts having fun with the civilians at this holiday's nightmare moon. And so ends the story with me doing all the work. Now we'll talk about writing with Handsome the Jerk.
Thanks, Fancy. Anyway, there's a reason I let Fancy narrate most of the story. Not just because of time constraints I still need to get used to, and definitely not because it sounds more sophisticated that way. But the main reason I did was because there's literally nothing I could say for the story myself.
But nevertheless, the writing checks out for a wonderful story of Halloween fun. It's not that special in my opinion. But you know, we all live in a world where views are different.
Music is basically the same judgment, so I'll leave that out.
However, all the mention and humor we can easily share. For me, animation, it does look fascinating even back then, considering the fact that this is the first act to show Luna's new design. I can easily commend the fire for holding on to shoot despite the bad people inside.
And as for me on humor, it isn't really that on par. In fact, the only bits of humor that I know about are the three scenes of Pinky associating Liz action, or if you count the career scene. And I can easily see why people like Mr. Enter find it bothersome. However, despite all that, I think it did a fine job of balancing the funny with the fear. Something that Castlevania did too, but it's a point worth bringing up again, I think. So overall, I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10. Well, the story is very unique and has been a very recognizable episode to others. I can see why there are also people who might not like the episode either. And I'm not crazy saying that either. I live in a world where I know nothing is perfect, and that not everyone is going to like what we like.
As for me, I give it a 5-star rating. Sure, it has flaws like the bothersome pieces, but it was still a unique experience that I'm sure any Halloween fan out there would enjoy. That is Fancy Masquerade.
And this is Handsome Charmer. And Happy Halloween, everybody!